We think that too many states and cities for too many years already have been paying Amazon to do what it must do anyway. You mentioned $1.6 billion. That's what they've already gotten for their warehouses and their data centers. They have to have the data centers because they're the biggest cloud computing company in the world. They have to have their warehouses because the Prime business model forces them to have warehouses close to all those Prime household subscribers. So we think, and today we're seeing more than $2 billion in subsidies being offered by Virginia and New York for an expansion the company had to make.
And so let me turn the question. If the subsidies were not being offered, and apparently New York City and Crystal City, Arlington, were not the ones who necessarily offered the most money to Amazon. There were others that reportedly offered more, Maryland, Newark, New Jersey, among others. Would you argue that these companies would have placed these headquarters in the same place absent the subsidies?
I do. You're right. Newark offered $7 billion together with New Jersey. Maryland offered $8.5 billion. St. Louis offered $7.3 billion. They didn't make it. Incentives almost never determine where a company expands or relocates. They can't because they're not the big cost variable. They're altogether less than 2% of a company's cost structure. It's the business basics, and in this case, executive talent pool is the number 1, 2, and 3 criteria for a corporate headquarters like this. If Amazon's going to hire 50,000 brainiacs, they need a lot of executive talent to compete from.
In your view, Greg, how does this stack up to past sort of mega deals where cities were luring other headquarters? You say that past ones have cost an average of $658,000 a job. I mean, obviously, that just counts that job for that first year, but it really should be amortized over the length of time that job exists in that city, right? So longer term, how does it stack up, and is it worth it?
Yeah, so the figure we put out, this average mega deal cost of $658,000 per job, is for the life of those deals. What we don't know yet for Amazon is what's the whole denominator. We're actually struck by how Amazon tries to control that computation by putting the incentive information in its own press release. Very unusual. Normally the governor and the mayor would brag about those numbers rather than the company. We suspect, as you already stated, for example, that the additional investments being made by Virginia Tech University belong in that equation as well, but they're not in the press release put out by Amazon. So we think when the dust settles that this will be a more expensive deal than we know.